Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Chaf Dalit Amid Beis. So what are we familiar with? We're familiar with the laws of Keren and Shem V'Regel. Shem V'Regel, Hilchas Gemirilah, Halacha Moshe Misinai, that Shem V'Regel are potter in Rishus Harabim. You need a Bia B'Steyacher, and Rishus Harabim you'd be potter. Keren, on the other hand, would be Chayiv in Rishus Harabim. How much? Well, the first time, and the second time, and the third time will be Chayiv Chatzi Nezek. The fourth time will be a Mud. Okay, so Chatzi Nezek in Rishus Harabim. What about Rishus HaNizik? What about if the animal goes into your Rishus and gores your animal? Well, we know that Shem V'Regel in that place plays Nezek Shalim. Rav Tarfon's of the opinion through the vehicle of a Kal V'Chomer, very famous Kal V'Chomer, that Keren Rishus HaNizik should pay Nezek Shalim. Madach, the place where Shem V'Regel are Pata, Keren is Chayiv, in the place where Shem V'Regel are Chayiv, ain't no thing that Keren should be Chayiv, and you can be Chayiv Nezek Shalim. That is the premise of the whole evening, and working off that, as we'll see. Says the Mishnah, Shara Masik Rishus HaNizik. Limited in the first parak when we counted the 5 muadim, one of the muadim we counted was the Shara Masik Rishus HaNizik. Ketzad, how exactly does that work? Nigach, if the animal gores, that's the Av. Nigach, if it pushes with its body, that's the Tolda. Noshach, it bites, that's the Tolda. Robatz, it crouches down upon, that's the Tolda. Boya, it kicks, that's the Tolda. Rishus Harabim, Mishalim Chatzi Nezek. Rishus HaNizik, Reb Tarfon Nezek Shalem. Reb Tarfon says it's going to pay in Rishus HaNizik Nezek Shalem. The Chachamim Maimim Chatzi Nezek. There's no difference like the Chachamim between Rishus HaNizik and Rishus Rabim and Rishus HaNizik. Either way, you're going to pay Chatzi Nezek. Rabbi, on the other hand, Rabbi Tarfon is of the opinion you're going to pay Nezek Shalem. Now, if Tarfon comes up with a Kal V'Chomer, and it's the Kal V'Chomer that I just stated. Uma bim Mokaim. Shahakol al Hashem ve'al Regel, b'Shus Harabim. In a place where we make on Shus Hashem Regel and Shus Harabim, Shu Potter, Ichmar Leim, Keren. In a place where Shem Regel are Potter, b'Shus Harabim, Keren is Chayiv, b'Shus HaNizik l'Shali Nezek Shalem. In the nonetheless, Shem Regel in the b'Shus HaNizik pays Nezek Shalem. Makom shehichmar al Keren b'Shus Harabim. So again, there's two components: the Keren component and the Shem V'Regel component. Pashtus the Gemara in the Havamina, you're learning from the Keren component. Madach Keren, which in Rishus Harabim is Chayiv and Shem V'Regel is not. In a place where Shem V'Regel is Chayiv, Keren yes. So you should be Chayiv Nezek Shalem. That's the lima. Keren from Keren. Amuloi. Said the Chachamim to Rabbi Tarfon, Dayo Lovamin Adin, it's enough something that you learn out of a Kal V'Chomer, Liyos Kinidin. In other words, the Malamed, what that you learn out, right, can't be more prominent than with the source that you learned it from. And it's just Ma Rishus Harabim Chatzi Nezek, Af Rishus HaNizik Chatzi Nezek. In other words, if you don't know what din, you don't know you don't know it at all. It doesn't exist. And the only way it's coming into existence through the vehicle, the tool called the Kal V'Chomer, it can't be greater than the Kal V'Chomer. It can't be greater than the Kal V'Chomer. If your Kal V'Chomer is predicated upon what? Keren in Rishus HaRabim, and that's Chatzi Nezek, that's your source. About this Chayiv in Rishus HaRabim, where Shem V'Regel is Pata, certainly it should be Chayiv Nezek Shalem in that place. It can't be more. This din that you want to learn Nezek Shalem of Keren can't be more than the source. The source is Keren, is Chatzi Nezek. So that's what the Chachamim retorted to Reb Tarfon. In other words, Reb Tarfon, I agree in Svara with your Kal V'Chomer. I'm not upschlugging your Kal V'Chomer. I'm not saying it's not a good Kal V'Chomer. What I'm telling you is the Kal V'Chomer can't be more. It can't be great. The Malame that you learn out from, that you're learning from, can't be greater. That you learn. Amalahem. So Reb Tarfon retorted to them, Afani Amid Aleph, Afani loy odin Keren mi Keren. I'm not learning Keren from Keren. I'm not learning Keren Rishus Harabim from Keren Rishus HaNizik from Keren Rishus Harabim. Ani odin Keren me Regel. I'm learning Keren from Regel. Uma b'makom shehakol Hashem v'al Regel b'Rishus Harabim hechme b'Keren. In a place in Rishus Harabim where Mekel and Shem V'Regel that they pata amach b'Keren. Makom shehechme al Hashem v'al Regel b'Rishus HaNizik ein adin shenachme b'Keren. Amullah, they told him Dayolov bin Liyos Kanidin. Okay, we'll have to see the Gemara exactly what the conversation is over here. But right now, that's for tomorrow night. Right now, that's But the concept today is how does it work? Daya. It's mashma from over here that Rabbi Tarfon does not hold of Daya. Now Daya is a din in the Torah. It's a din in the Raisa. Kavachayim is one of the Yugimel Midas. Where do we learn it from? We learn it from Miriam. We learn it from Miriam. Miriam is put away for how many days? Right, 7 days. Okay, where do you learn it from? You learn it from a pasuk. What does the pasuk say? The pasuk says, "Vayom Hashem al Moshe, v'avia yorek yorah b'faneha." If her father would spit in her face, halo tikolim shivas yamim, she would be embarrassed for 7 days. In other words, the when we put away people, we know 7 days from Mitzrayim. We put away for 7 days. So if you spit in your face for 7 days, saga shivas yamim michutz lamachne v'achti yosef. Kal v'chomer, fellas, kal v'chomer, the Shechina that she spoke about, it should be 14 days. That's the reason you go to 14. Taisus brings 2 pshat. I'm bringing you the second pshat in Taisus. That the minimal amount when you get put away is 7 days. So it's not by if you could put away for 7 days, kal v'chomer 8 days. If you get if a human being is put away for a limit of 7. You embarrass him, should be another 7, another 14. So in other words, I'm starting off. Do I know? Guys, look at your chart. Look at your chart. I think we'll work. Well, let's do it. Let's do it outside before we do it inside. I think it might be helpful. Okay, it's up on the screen for those people who are watching in living color. No. I sent it to your phone. I sent something to your phone. Okay, guys, from the top, you see from Moshe, the Shechina, I put a 0 by. What do I mean by the 0? We don't know how long, right? It doesn't say. Guys, the Shechina doesn't say it. So we're starting with 0. Guys, just follow along. Bas v'dam, how long is? 7 days. So what does the Kal v'chomer tell me? If for Bas v'dam it's 7 days, right? Kal v'chomer for HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be 14 days. On that we say what? 7. Why? Right? We're learning out from a human being. A human being is 7, right? That's even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be 14, it's 7. So we have a valid Kal v'chomer. If for X amount of days for a human being, Kal v'chomer HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be more. But the Nidon tells us Dayoy Love and Avdin teaches that what it's limited to 7. That's the Kal v'chomer for Dayoy. Fred the Gemara. So how come Rav Tarfon does not buy into Dayoy? He's saying Nezek Shalem, right? He's saying Nezek Shalem. Why? What about Dayoy? And what's the answer? Guys, so far you're good? Guys, so far you're good. The guys on the screen, so far you're good? So now watch. There's a difference. You didn't start at 0. You started at half. You started at Chatzi Nezek. In other words, it wasn't I was trying to learn out there's a chiyuv at all. I knew there was a chiyuv. I want to extend that chiyuv from what? From Chatzi Nezek to Nezek Shalem. When you want to go ahead and extend, if you say Dayo, you know what happens? You Kal v'chomer didn't do anything. Guys, why do you say, guys, watch. Watch. Madach kerem b'shus harabim. Peis Chatzi Nezek and Shem v'regel apata. In a place where Shem v'regel pays Nezek Shalem, Einoi din, is it not a Kal v'chomer that what? That Karen should pay Nezek Shalem. Dayoy love him in Elias Knidin. What's the Dayoy? To pay Chatzi Nezek. So therefore I slugged up your Kal v'chomer. It didn't accomplish anything. I knew Chatzi Nezek all along. When you start from nothing, when you don't know the halacha, when there's Wada Kodesh Baruch Hu, you don't know where he is, how many days it's going to be, and you're learning out something to create a din. I'm creating the Zman for the Shechina, and you have a Kal v'chomer 14, limited to 7 because your starting point is 7. But where your starting point is a half, and you want to learn out a whole, and now you're going to go ahead and say, Dayoy, what's the Dayoy going to do? It's going to take you back to a half. So what do my Kal v'chomer accomplish? So in other words, says Rabbi Tarfon, I do agree with Dayoy. You know when I agree with the Dayai? When it doesn't upschlag the Kal V'Chaymer. But when the Dayai slugs up the Kal V'Chaymer, it doesn't accomplish anything, then I don't say Dayai. So over here, what's your Kal V'Chaymer? You have Chatzi Nezek. You want to learn that Nezek Shalem. If you're going to say Dayai, you're going to go back to Chatzi Nezek. So what did your Kal V'Chaymer do? In that case, I don't say Dayai. I go through with the Kal V'Chaymer, and you're going to pay Nezek Shalem, B'Shus HaNezek. That's the side of the sugya, guys. That's the side of the sugya. Where the Kal V'Chaymer is slugged up, you don't say Dayai. Okay, now, what about the Chachamim? Now, they're saying very good. Guys, continue with the chart. Continue with the chart. I'm going to try to do as much on the chart so the Gemara will flow easier, okay? You guys never mind this. Trust me. It's a very powerful tool, pedagogical tool. Now, what do the Chachamim say? The Chachamim say, guys, that you're not starting off from 0. You're starting off from 7. Right? The Chacham say you're not starting off from 0, you're starting off from 7. In other words, the pasuk says, Haloi tikolim shivas yomim, tisaga shivas yomim. In other words, we knew 7 days. We want to learn out 14. We knew 7. We want to learn 14. So now, if the Shechina is put away for 7, certainly Bas V'Dam, then the Bas V'Dam is put away for 7. Certainly the Shechina should be at least 14, right? So the Chacham say you still say 7. Why? Right? Because you don't say Dayai, right? You didn't accomplish anything. So therefore the Chachamim say that your source, Reb Tarfin, that you want to learn a Dayai from, we don't learn Dayai over there. Why? Because it's Mifrach the Kal V'Chaymer. Good. Okay, so let's see what we got so far. But let's see what we got so far.
That's an arbitrary number?
No, you were a little late. Not a problem. When you put away for 7 days, it's like a mitzvah, right? So when you put away, you're always going to have that amount. In other words, there's no thing as 8 or 9 or 10. It's not 1 day, 2 days. You're going to go ahead. This is 2 pshatim and Tosfos. This is the second pshat and Tosfos Kal V'Chaymer. That number, it's not an arbitrary number. It's like 7, 14, 21. In other words, that is a amount of containment that has for the Torah. It's an amount of containment. That's what we said. Okay, Geshmak. Okay, let's see what we have, guys. Now, Rabbeinu Tam. Rav Tarfin, less they Dayai. Rav Tarfin does not hold of Dayai. In other words, we know Dayai is a limud, but Dayai da'araisa he grew. Guys, Dayai is da'araisa. It's a din da'araisa. The Tanya, midin Kal V'Chaymer ketzad. Where do you know Kal V'Chaymer from? From Moshe Rabbeinu. Where do you know Kal V'Chaymer? Moshe Rabbeinu. By Yom Hashem al Moshe, said HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe, ve'avia yorek b'faneha, haloi tikolem Shivas Yamim, Tisaga Shivas Yamim, Michutz. Halek to call Shivas Yamim, Kal V'Chaymer l'Shechina. Kal V'Chaymer l'Shechina, Abba Asa. Kal V'Chaymer, that the Shechina should be for 14 days, right? Kal V'Chaymer l'Shechina should be 14 days. So why Taka isn't only 7? Ela Dayai, lovely Minadin, Lias Kanidin. She spoke Lashon Hara about Rayna Shleilam should be 14 days. But since the source, and you're starting off with nothing, so Dayah love min and since you're learning out from Bas V'Dam for 7 days, so too HaKadosh Baruch Hu also is 7 days. So key Leslie. So that's the kasha. Kasha Rav Tarfin, you have to hold the Dayah. It's a pasuk in the Torah by Moshe Rabbeinu and Miriam and HaKadosh Baruch Moshe Miriam. And for the Gemara, key Leslie Dayah. When does Rabbi Tarfin not hold of Dayah? Heicha the Mifrach Kal V'Chaymer. That's when the Kal V'Chaymer is slugged up. Where the Kal V'Chaymer is what is not slugged up, then it tells Dayai. Hasam Shiva the Shechina like Sivi. There by the Shechina doesn't say anything, guys. So we know nothing. We don't know how long it's supposed to be put away. So that's my chart. You're starting with 0, guys, right? You're starting with 0. Us the Kal V'Chaymer, I see Arbasa. What does the Kal V'Chaymer do? Put it to 14. Madach, a human being is 7. Kal V'Chaymer, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be 14. Oisa Dayai comes along Dayai, Afik Shiva, and puts it back right on 7 for Uki Shiva. Aval Hacha over here by Keren B'Shus Rabim Chatzi Nezek Siv. It says you pay Chatzi Nezek. So what, you can learn a Kal V'Chaymer if you have to be Chatzi Nezek B'Shus Nezek? You know that for sure. The Yasi Kal V'Chaymer comes the Kal V'Chaymer Madach B'Shus V'Shem Regel Apata. You're paying Chatzi Nezek B'Shus the Shem Regel Chayim Nezek Shalom. Ain't I din that you should pay what? Nezek Shalem. The Isi Chatzi Nezek Achrina V'Nasi Nezek Shalem. Good. Either Rash the Dayoi, if you're going to learn Dayoi in that scenario, Afrikle Kalvachaimer, you're going to slug up the whole Kalvachaimer. Now look at the chart, guys. It's going to go beautifully, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, you started off, you don't know how old the Shechina was, but you learned from Basav Adam. Madach for Basav Adam, you put away for 7 days. Certainly for the Rabbeinu Shalom, you should put away for 14 days. Ella what? Comes along Daya and says you only put away for 7 days because it doesn't upslug the Kal V'chomer, because your Kal V'chomer created from not knowing till 14, and you put it back on 7. Mashen came over here by Chatzi Nezek, right? Rosh Hashanah was Chatzi Nezek. Rosh Hashanah is Nezek Shalem. You want to learn Kal V'chomer should be Nezek Shalem. If you're going to say Daya, you're going to put it back in Chatzi Nezek. So what did you accomplish? Guys, Geschmack? Good, very, very good. Right? It's right there in front of you. It's right in front of you. Now, what about the Chachamim? The Chachamim hold. Okay, we'll keep the chart open. So the Chachamim, and the Chachamim hold Rabbanon Shiva de Shechina Kisivi. We're not starting off at 0.0. We're starting out at 7. Tisaga Shivas Yamin, right? It says that you're going to be there for 7 days. You're going to be what? You're starting off because the pasuk says again. If you look at the pasuk, it says Vayom Hashem Moshe Avia Yorek V'Neo Halei Tikolim Shivas Yamin Tisaga Shivas Yamin Michutz Lamachner V'Yachat Tiyasei. Should be outside for 7 days. You're Mitzayra outside for 7 days, and then you'll come back in. So 7 days is a given. 7 days is a given. So 7 days is a given, right? And you have 7 days is a given, and the Chachamim, and they say Dayot, right? And nonetheless, so what's the reason that you don't learn 14? Only because Dayai? What's the reason you don't learn 14? Only because of Dayai? Okay, now, yeah, that's the Chachamim. So they hold of Dayai. In other words, fellas, excuse me, guys outside. The Chachamim hold. Even in the scenario where the Kalvach Oimer is not teaching us anything, you say Dayai. Where do you see that from? Moshe, you knew 7 days to begin with. You should have a Kalvach Oimer to 14, yet you're going back to 7. Why? Because we're going to say Dayai. You knew Chatzi Nezek in the first place. You want to extend it to Nezek Shalem. Why do you go back to Chatzi Nezek? Because you say Dayai. In other words, that's why the Chacham are saying Dayai, because they learned from Moshe. Even in that scenario, you say Dayai. You're starting off with the 7. You want to go to the 14, right? The Dayai is taking you back to 7, and still you're doing it. So too, Chatzi Nezek. You want to go to Nezek Shalem? Comes along Dayai and takes you back to Chatzi Nezek. Guys, good. That's clear. Now the Gemara says the following: that meaning there's not one place that what does Rabbeinu Tam do with the Chacham's din? Okay, let's see the Gemara now. Rav Tarfin, what does he do with the Chacham? Mahu tisaga de dashin and dayohu. That the first one to go is that we do dash and dayoy, right? In other words, without that pasuk to say 7, you wouldn't know. It's teaching me that you don't say 14. That tells me you're limited to 7. Rabbanon ksiv korachrina. It says v'tisaga Miriam. Rabbeinu Tamahu that tisaga Miriam that filu ba'alma dashin and dayoy. You might think over here that you only dash and dayoy because of Moshe's covet. That because for Moshe's covet they only put away for 7 days. But Avo ba'alma loy ba'alma we don't say dayoy. Kamash malon that what we do say dayoy the Chol Torah Kula. Okay. So now we're clear. Just to recap. We have a machlokes in the Mishnah between the Chachamim and Rav Tarfin. Says Rav Tarfin the Kalvach Omer that Karen should pay Nesek Sholem in Rishus HaNesek. Madach in a place where Shem V'Regel Apata you pay Chatzi Nesek, in a place where Karen Shem V'Regel pay Nesek Sholem ain't within that Karen should pay Nesek Sholem. Says the Chum Dayoy. Read the Gemara. Rabbi Tarfin doesn't hold the Dayoy. What about Moshe? Because he holds the Dayoy in the case of Moshe because there we didn't have a number given. We started off with 0. We don't know how long it was. We want to learn the Kalvach Omer from 7 to 14. Madach Mitzayra is put away for 7 days. Certainly, want a person that is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, who embarrasses Hashem should be for 14 days. Dayoy, right? Then Dayoy. Mashenkin over here, if you're going to say Dayoy, but starting with Chatzinezek, what's going to happen? Dayoy is going to be back to Chatzinezek. The Kavachim accomplish nothing. And the Chachamim, you see the Chachamim say even a Kavachim that doesn't accomplish anything. You learn from where they learn it from. They learn it from the case of Miriam. There, in other words, we're starting. It says for 7 days. We're starting at 7 days. In other words, I don't need the Kavachim for 7 days. I need the Kavachim for 14. Why is 7? Because he say Dayoy, even in a place where it's going to slug up the Kavachim. Why does the Pashan do with the Raya? He learns it for the Dayoy over there and extends it to Alma. So we're holding very good. Now the Gemara is going to now go ahead and extend beyond this, and the Gemara is going to go ahead and say there must be other people who darshan Dayoy. Says the Gemara. I have a Tana Deloy Dorish Dayoy. In other words, I have a Tana that even though the Kal V'chomer is still intact, I'm going to learn out what? I'm going to go ahead and say Dayoy. I won't say Dayoy. I won't darshan Dayoy. So even though I have a Kal V'chomer, and after you say Dayoy, you would have the Kal V'chomer, you don't say Dayoy. Okay, what's that case? Let's go to the videotape. Okay, a little background. We know from our what did I do? We know from our journey that there's something called a zav in the Torah. A zav, the flow that comes from his body, is mitama not only tumas maga, but even masa. Even a person would carry it without touching it, he would be more severe. So on the chart, guys, I'm calling that a 2. And notice it says a 2 underneath there. I'm calling that a 2. You don't have it? Because I only send it on WhatsApp, right? You don't have it, right? You don't have. You do have it? Oh, you do have. You have the thing? Okay, great. Okay, good. So now you have the zav is a 2 because it's mitama tumas masa. The balkeri is magas a tumas 1. Good. Now we spoke out that there's a difference between the viscosity of the zav and the balkeri. Let's say a person's a zav. He's an established zav, and he sees keri. Is his keri mitama masa or not? That's the Kal V'chomer. Is the keri of a zav a higher level keri than the person that what is a regular bal keri? So now, the roik, the spittle of a person is tahar. Is tahar. If a person is tahar, he's tahar. The roik of a zav, the spittle of a zav is a 2, guys. It's mitama tumas masa. You see it on the chart. Roik of a zav, I put a 2 underneath there. That means it's mitama tumas masa. Good. So now, madach, the roik of a tahar, it's tahar. The roik of a zav is a 2. A balkeri, who's tahar, a regular tahar, the person who's balkeri is a 1. It's not a Kal V'chomer that the keri of zav should be a 2. Right? Good. Yeah. And guess what? It is a 2. Why don't we say dayo? Why not say dayo and it's only a 1? You see right there? Now, this Kal V'chomer is a good Kal V'chomer. You're starting off nothing and you're ending up with a 2. Nonetheless, you're not saying dayo. So in other words, you're asking Pasha. You just told me that when do you say dayo? That's where it's not a lot. When it doesn't you say dayo. When it doesn't slug up the Kal V'chomer, I'm giving you a Kal V'chomer that's not slugged up. And you're still not saying dayoy. Again, one more time. The roik of a tahardika person is tahar. Yet the roik of a zav is a tumas masa, is a 2. The balkeri, the tahardika balkeri, meaning a regular person who there's no previous tuma, who sees keri, which is tumas maga, ain't a din that the zav, whose roik is a 2, that his keri should be a 2. That's the Kal V'chomer. And we don't say what Dayolov bin Lias Kenidin, that you're learning from a 1, it should remain a 1. Beautiful, beautiful limud, guys, right? That's the limud. So what does the Gemara say? So the Gemara says, you thought initially that it was a 0. You thought initially that, guys, that the Zav's keri is tahar, because it says Mikra Laila, guys. It says you see it at night. And therefore what? You want Mifrich Kal V'chomer. So therefore the tar is a 1. The zar his spittle is a 2. You don't say daya, it would be a 2. That's what you thought. But in reality, it's the Zav is a 1. His carry of his Zav is a 1. In other words, you thought initially that it wasn't Tameh at all, not even Tumas 1, because he's a Zav. And now you're learning out that no, he really was a 1. He started off as a 1. So I didn't need the Kal V'chomer to tell me he's a 1. I need the Kal V'chomer to tell me what? So he's a Tardik person is a 1, a Zar, right? And you want the Zar is a 1, but you don't say that. Because right? You don't say that. Why? Because we don't say Daya, and therefore he becomes a 2. Since it would negate the Kal V'chomer. If I'm going to keep him as a 1, I don't need that. I know, guys, in other words, I know the Zav is Metama Tumas Maga, his carry. I don't need a Kal V'chomer for the carry of a Zav to be a 1. I know that already. So what's a Kal V'chomer? Madach the Zav. Madach the spittle of the spittle of a regular person is nothing. The spittle of a what? Of a Zav is a 2. The Balkari of a Tardik person, which is a 1, Einoi din, it should be a 2. And if you're going to say what Dayoy, you're going to shluck up the Kal V'chomer. Why? Because I know he was a 1 already. If you're going to say the whole source you're starting from what is a 1, is the Tardik a 1, I know that already. So really, what you thought, right? And therefore, in other words, not this man the Yamataka holds a Dayoy, but over here, this would slug up the Kal V'chomer. One more time. You know already, I need to learn out that the Balkari of Azav is Tumas Maga, a 2. We don't have a 2 in the world of Keri. We have a 1. A regular Balkari is a 1. We want to learn how to Zav Balkari is a 2. We have a Kal V'chomer to accomplish that. Good, right? And we do accomplish that, but not because, right? And the reason is why, not because we don't say Dayo, is because the Dayo would slug up the Kal V'chomer. Since I know a 1 already, I know it would be Thomas Tuga Maga. Ma'adach, a Tardik, a person whose spittle is Tahar. His carry is a 1. The Zar whose spittle is a 2. Einoi din, his spittle should be what? A what? It should be what? A what? It should be a 2. And you're going to say, what are you going to say? No, it's only a 1 because of Dayoy. You can't say that. Since you don't say Dayoy, it's a 2. Since we negate the Kal V'chomer, we say it's a 2. And then we go off on a tangent. Okay, let's go back in the Gemara. Let's see it inside. Says the Gemara. Amlira papa labaya v'hai tana leidarish dayoy v'afagav leimir for Kal V'chomer. This tana does not hold dayoy, even though it doesn't slug up your Kal V'chomer. The Tanya, Keri bezov minayin. How do you know Keri bezov is Tumas Maga? The dinhu ma tahar b'tahar. Ma tahar b'tahar. The roik of a tahar is tahar. Tamei b'tamei. The roik of a zav is tamei. Tamei b'tahar. The zera of a tardik person which is tamei. Einay din shei tamei b'tamei. It's not a Kal V'chomer. It should be tamei. The kamaisi law bein le'inyan maga bein le'inyan masa. And we bring it whether it's a 1 or a 2. And again, you're bringing it. You're learning at a 2 from a 1. V'mai. Neima ahani Kal V'chomer lemaga. I have the Kal V'chomer that tells me that the tumas of a zav goes from 0 to a 1. Ahani din dayoy lafuke masa, to go ahead and say it's only a 1, not a 2. And nonetheless, no, and you're saying it is a 2. So obviously, why do you hold that you don't say dayoy even when the Kal V'chomer is intact? Because again, you think you're starting from 0, guys. You think you don't know what at all. If I'm starting from 0, then it's mechadish something. It's mechadish is a 1. And then the Gemara says from the 1, Kal V'chomer should be a 2, but dayoy it's a 1. We don't say it. We say he's a 2. The chitema lamagali it's the can tell you lamag you don't need it. Kal V'chomer like gara migavra tahar. No, it's the. In other words, you might think, guys, that of course you don't need guys. You don't need a Kal V'chomer to tell me the carry of a zav is tamei maga. You don't need to tell me it's tamei tumas maga. I think I began saying by masa. I think it's maga. Yeah, you don't need a Kal V'chomer to tell me that. No, it's the. You do need to tell me that. Salka echaminan mikra laila kasib. It says mikra laila. Misha kerev goyim maloi. Yotzezeh shein kerev goyim loi. Right? That it's caused at night, but over here it's not. So you would think that over here that perhaps it's different. You would think perhaps over here what it's different, and therefore what. In other words, fellas, Why? I would say the following. You know when about Keri is Asa? When it becomes Tameh, that when he was Tahar. But so Mikra Laila, guys, Mikra Laila means is he had a dream at night and he was wet. Go to wet dream, we call. So if he was Tahar beforehand, then Mikra Laila, now he's Tameh. But the Zav when he went to sleep, guys, what was he? The Zav when he went to sleep, what was he? So if he saw Keri, what would you think? It doesn't affect meaning. It's not adding anything. So you would think, what? It's Tahar. Tahar, the Keri is Tahar. So you need a limud to teach me that what? The Kal V'Chomer that it's Tameh. That's it's the Gemara's fearing goes like this. Like, what kind of havamina would you have to tell me that what? That the Keri is Tahar, that you need a Kal V'Chomer to tell me it's Tameh. Right? Why would you think it's not? Why would you think a Zav Bal Keri is any better than a Tahar Bal Keri? And what's the answer? Because a Tahar Bal Keri was Tahar, but a Zav was Tameh. So the pasuk of Tumah that's stated by what? By the pasuk of Tumah of Keri that's stated by a it's not stated by a Zav. It's stated by what? A Tahar person. So, Sat Mikra Ksiv Misha Karav Garam Loy. Misha Karav Garam Loy. His Keri causes him to be what? Tameh. Yatzazeh. This would exclude a Zav. Shein Karav Garam Loy. That his Keri does not cause him. Eladava Acha Garam Loy. Kamash Malon that what? Kamash Malon that it's Tameh. So now what do you have? So right now at this point in time, right? So right now at this point in time, Pashtus, you have a person. You have a Kal V'Chomer, and we're saying Dayoy. And we're saying Dayoy. So what's the teretz? Midi Laila for like Davacha Ksiv. Does it say only a person that's Tameh by night and nothing else? That you're darshaning that what? Only someone who was what? Was Tameh at night? Right? It's not the only reason, right? It doesn't make a difference. Whether he's Tahar or Tameh, whether he's Tahar or Tameh, the Keri is going to be a 1. Okay, guys, let's go through it again one more time. Let's go through one more time. This is one more time the chart. I think it'll be a little better now. Okay, we have a kasha. We have a kasha. What's our kasha? Our kasha is not everyone holds a dayoy. Where do you see not everyone holds a dayoy? You wanted the following. We're saying that you could learn out from a 1 to become a 2. We're learning out. I'll make it succinct. You're learning out from regular Keri by a Taradika person that the Keri of a Zav should be a 2. That's what, and we don't say Dayoy, right? And over there, in the Havamina was that there was no kasha on the Kal V'Chomer. Why? Because you would think that only a person who was previously Tahar is his Keri Tameh. But a person who was Tameh beforehand, maybe his Keri is Tahar. And therefore, if his Keri is Tahar, I needed it to teach me what? To teach me a 1. And therefore, the Kal V'Chomer is not slugged up because I didn't know it in the first place. I never knew a 1, guys. I needed the Kal V'Chomer to teach me a 1. Therefore, the Zor will be a 2. And we don't say Dayoy and it's a 2. And that's a kasha. Because here he is. There's no kasha on the Kal V'Chomer. It's a good Kal V'Chomer. Madach, a guy who is Tahar is a 1. A Zav who is not Tahar, is Tameh, but his Keri is Tahar, Ein Adin should be at least a 2 because of Roik. And you should say Dayoy, but we don't say Dayoy. He says, and that's your kasha, it's a 2. And the answer is no. Really, it was a 1 all along. There's Mikra Laila was just a Havamina, but even a person that was Tameh already was a 1. So here's a classic case of not saying Dayoy, because then it would slug up your Kal V'Chomer. You're starting off as a 1, guys. Meaning, I know a Zav is a 1. I want to learn out that he's a 2. I want to learn out that he's a 2, right? So therefore, very good. If it slugs up your Kal V'Chomer, right, then we have a person who says that when it slugs up your Kal V'Chomer, you're not going to say Dayoy, and the person who says when it slugs up your Kal V'Chomer, we will say Dayoy, right? And that's the Chachamim. Okay. So since we're going to get okay, now we're going to go off on a tangent a little bit, and I don't know if the chart is good for this. We'll see. Okay. Umantana, the Shamas lay that you heard from him, Damar Shichva Zera Shel Zav Mitama B'Masa. Who's the one that says the shichva of a zov is matama b'masa? Again, the shichva zera of a regular person is only tumas maga. It's an abatuma, but only touching it, not carrying it. Where do you know the shikva zera of a zov with mitamis masa? Lo Rebbe Eliezer, it's not Rebbe Eliezer. V'lo Rebbe Yeshua, it's not Rebbe Yeshua. Did nan shikva zera shel zov mitame b'maga v'ena mitame b'masa de Rebbe Eliezer. Openly, he says what? The reason why it's not mitame tumas ma, it's just not. In other words, it's no different than regular carry. Rebbe Yeshua Omer af mitame b'masa. He says it's even mitame b'masa. You know why? And he gives a reason. In other words, if he has an emission, it's not possible that not mixed into that is Zov. In his carry is Zov. And therefore, according to the tangent, carry is Zav Metame B'masa, right? Not Rebbe Eliezer, not Rebbe Yeshua. It's not Rebbe Eliezer because he says openly it's not Metame B'masa. It's not Rebbe Yeshua because he says what? Oh, the reason it's masa is because mixed in is ziva. So who is the Tana that you said above would hold that it's a two? That's matama tumas masa. I can like Rebbe Yeshua Hasam Ela Sheyev Shablay Sizuche Ziva Halav Hachi Loi El Haitanu the Tan Hamid Beis. Okay, Lamaila. Okay, Lamaila. We have Lamaila above Sheretz. Sheret, the first column is Sheretz. You guys, you still have this? Yeah. Sheretz Sichvazeret Tamei Meis. That's Tumas Masa, guys. Good. That's the one. And Lamaila is Zoivoi Roikoi Shichvazaroi. That's the Zav. So what's the, in other words, this is the Mishnah in Kalim. It's discussing the various Tumah. And column 1 is Tumas Masa. A Sheretz, Shichvazera, Tamei Meis. And Lamaila from that is not the mace itself, a tummy mace. Lamaila mizeh is the roik of a zav, the zav, it's the zoiv of a zav, and the shichva zera of a zav. That's all we needed, guys. It says the shichva zera of a zav is matama b'masa. That's what we needed. That one line. Zoiv b'shel zav, the roikai, and the third word on the page on the Amid Beis, the shichva zarai. Umeim raglov and his urine. The dam anida mitamin, and the dam vanida mitamin bein b'maga bein b'masa. So you have him on the Amma, guys, who says that the Shechva Zera of a Zav is Matama Tumas Vat, Tumas Masa. Says, how do you know that it's his carry that's Matama? Maybe because mixed into his carry is like Holek Rabbi Yeshua, that there must be mixed in there some Zoiv. Says, when it came, the Snai Gabe Zoivai should be after the word Zoivai. It should say Zoivai v'Shechva Zarai. Why did we go ahead and put it after Roikoi? We learn out from Roik, just like the Roik of a tar, like a person's tar. Yet his carry is Tame. Roik where the Roik is Tame, Tumas Masa, Ainadin is carry Shu Mitama. And that was the Kavachayim we had in the Amid Aleph. So this is the Mandiyama guys who, right? This is the Mandiyama who holds what that there is a Tame Tumas. When Matame Tumas Masa by Reich. Okay, again, just what we saw this evening, basically so far. Again, we saw that the famous Kavachayim of Tarfin that a Karen should be Chayiv Nesek Sholim and Mishus and Nizik. The Chacham said Dayoy Chatzi Nesek. Intrinsically, they argued in the Yisoid Kavachayim where the Kavachayim is slugged up as a result. The Chacham say we don't care if it's slugged up. Right, it starts off with Chatzi Nesek and ends up Chatzi Nesek. You gain nothing, we'll say Dayoy. Says Rabbi Tarfin, in that scenario, we're not going to say it. We're only going to say where the Kavachayim is intact, right? We're only say where the Kavachayim is intact. Okay, where's the Kavachayim intact? He learned that from Moshe Rabbeinu, where the Shechina, you would say 14 days, Dayoy, 7 days. We had a kasha now from, tangentially, we went off and we discussed it. What are you talking about? Avaman the Amma, who even where the Kavachayim is intact, you say Dayoy. Where was that? We thought that the Tumah of a Zov, the carry of a Zav is not Tameh because it was caused by his fact that he was Tameh beforehand. And we thought you're going from 0 to a 2, and you say Dayo to become a 1, and he doesn't say Dayo, he remains a 2. And the answer is no, you started off as a 1. You started off as a 1. You started off as a 1. So there was no Dayo because your Kalvachayma would have been what? Would have been the same. You would have looked at 1 to a 1, so Mela becomes a 2. And we just then gently went ahead and said there's such a man the Amma who holds that the carry of a zov, the semen of a zov, whether it's Tamei Tumas Mas. Somebody said Enochanami. It wasn't Rabbi Eliezer, it wasn't Rabbi Yeshua, but it's the Tana of this first mission in Kalim who puts Shich Vezera after Roikoi, because you learn it out from Roikoi, the Kal B'Chayma. Again, that's the Kal B'Chayma we began with. Madat Roich of a Torah person, the carry is Tamei. Certainly the Roik of what of a Zav, which is a 2, the carry should be Tamei, and in the level of a 2, and we don't say that, we don't say that yet. Okay, says the Gemara Vayta. I'll show you a Tana now who, in fact, does not learn Dayoy. He does not learn Dayoy, even though what the Kal V'Chomer is intact. Okay, now it says by Midyan, it says it's discussing the Midyan, and it says the following: V'chol beged, v'chol kliyar. Right, the chalbega v'chol kliyar, oy sak. Well, that's not over there. No, Rashi brings it chalbega v'chol kliyar, and it doesn't. V'zeh eina b'chal beged, and a mapitz is a mattress, is some type of a mat. A mat is not in any of these things. So we want to know, how do you know a mat is makame tumas meis? How do you know a mat with makabel tumas meis? It's not a beged, it's not kliyar. How would you know? Now it says it by Midyan, and it says it also by a sheretz, guys. By a sheretz, it says by beged ayar suck. That's goat skin. The kol kli asher yasim malacha behem b'mayim yuva it's tamei. Okay, so any guys, so the Gemara wants to know the following, and we want to say that we have a kal v'chayme, fellas, and from this kal v'chayme, nonetheless, what we're going to say you don't say dayai, even though it doesn't strike up the kal v'chayme. The Tanya mapitz b'meis. You have a mapitz, which is a mat, b'meis minai, and how do you know it's metame? How do you know it receives tuma? Vidinu, it's kal v'chayme. Uma pachin katanim, small kalim, shetahirim bizov. Right, they're so small, a zov can't be metame them. Nonetheless, metame b'meis, mapitz shemetame bizov, a mapitz that's metame bizov, ain't adin sheyitame b'meis. Now, be aware, fellas, tumas zov is 1 day, and you immerse it, and at nightfall it's good. Tamei meis is 7 days. Tamei meis is 7 days. So in other words, guys, I'm giving you the heads up. If I'm going to learn out meis from zav, then is she tamei for what? For only 1 day if I say dayai. Because since a zav is only 1 day, the tuma of mapitz meis should also be only 1 day. Ella, if you're going to say it's 7 days, it must be we don't say dayai. It must be, you don't say limit the time of tumas, the map of a mace, mapits of a mace. We're not going to limit it. Why? Because we don't say dayai, and therefore we'll go ahead and extend it beyond the evening that the zav will be metama. Mapit says the Gemara, mapits shemetama bezov ain't a din sheyitama mace ukamaisilan. That's a very good kal v'chaymer, right? So you don't know it's tamei at all. You're learning, guys. Let's go through it. You're learning from zav that the mapits won't be tamei at all. You're learning from zav that it is tamei. Now tamei what? Tumas erev. Kamashmulan it's tamei what? Tumas 7. You don't say dayai. That's the kal v'chaymer. Right. So and there's no kasha in this kal v'chaymer. You don't upshlag the kal v'chaymer. If I go back and say tamei meis is tamei erev, it still will be a vehicle kal v'chaymer because I didn't know tamei at all. I didn't know tumas meis at all. If you would tell me from a kal v'chaymer that's tamei to the evening, it's a good kal v'chaymer. Yet, nonetheless, we're extending it to 7 days, despite the fact that what? You should say dayai. So you see, you have a man the Omar, that you have a vehicle, a viable kal v'chaymer, and you're still not saying dayai. Right? Geshmak. Yeah. Let's start with 1 and 2. The 1 and 2 works, okay? You have a 0. You're starting off by map of a mace at 0. You're learning out from a 1. You're learning out from a 1. And what are you learning? You're learning out a level 2. Because zav is only for evening, that's a 1. A mace is a level 2. Good. If you say dayai, it only should limit it to be a 1, and it doesn't. So I have a kal v'chaymer that's intact, and nonetheless, I'm not saying dayai. So you've proven your point, right? You have such a man de Amar. So why do we say the following? Whether it's tumas erev, the level of 1, tumas shiva 2. I have the Kal V'chomer to go from 0 to a 1 to tell me it's Tummy Tumas Erev. V'hani Dayoi, and I have Dayoi Lafuke Tumas Shiva to exclude 7. Ella, you don't say that. So you see, you have a mandam who says even where the Kal V'chomer is still intact, you don't say Dayoi. How we doing, guys? It's a repetitious thing. It's not as difficult as people make it out to be. For me. That's another one bites the dust.
Dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies one after the other. Guys, again, it's a consistent pattern. So if you follow a pattern, it should be good. Or else you can listen to the blog, read the blog tomorrow. Amalei Ravina, Kvar Rami Nele, you already asked you ask on this kasha. Rav Nachman bar Zachari la Abaya, the Imila Abaya Tana, Mimapitz B'Sheretz Maisila. He doesn't bring from Tumas Mace, he brings from Tumas Sheretz. Guys, Madach, the Sheretz touches the Mappa, right? The Sheretz touches the Mappa. It's Tameh, right? If the Sheretz touches the Mappa, that it's Tameh. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to learn at Sheretz, and then we're going to learn at Mace. In other words, we're going to learn at Mappa. We're going to learn at Sheretz from Zav, and then we're going to learn at Mace from Sheretz. I think that's the limud. Again, it's a little schwer what they're trying to say over here. Let me just see it. Rashi says, look at Rashi. Tana mapitz b'sheretz ma'asila, mapitz b'meis. He learns out mapitz b'meis from sheretz through a gezer shava kidul kamon. So he doesn't learn out from a kal v'chomer, he learns from gezer shava, right? And we're going to see in a second. V'lav kal v'chomer mizav kida amrit. So in other words, you thought you're learning out tumas meis, mapitz meis from zav. You're not. You can learn it from a kal v'chomer from sheretz. You can learn from kal v'chomer sheretz. V'hach mishnah hachi kamar mapitz b'sheretz minalei. How do you know mapitz b'sheretz? So guys, watch outside. How do you know? Guys, watch. Look at me. It's a little. Here's complicated, but you're going to get it. Here's what I need. I'm going to learn out mace from sheretz in a gezer shava. But in order to learn out mace from sheretz, I have to first establish the sheretz is tamei, mapitz sheretz. How do I know mapitz sheretz? I learned that out from mapitz zav. Mapitz sheretz and zav, guys, are both Thomas erev. So there is no dayot. There is no dayot. There's no dayot. So in other words, it's not a problem whatsoever. You thought you're learning out Tumas Mace from Mapitz Mace from Mapitz Sheretz, and then you're going to say it's a Kal V'chomer, and you don't say dayot because Zav is what I said Sheretz. I mean Zav. Zav is 1 day, and that's 7 days. It's not true. That's not what's happened over here. What happened over here is I'm learning in the end, I'm going to learn out Mace from Sheretz. I'm going to learn out Sheretz from Zav. Both Sheretz and Zav are what? Are Tumas Erev, and therefore it's not a problem of Dayai. Let's see the Gemara inside. Says the Gemara. Amalei Ravina says, Kvar Ramyanele, the Kasha was asked to Rav Nachman bar Zachariah Abaya. The Amalei Abaya told Rav Nachman bar Zachariah, Tana b'mapitz b'sheretz ma'asila. The Tana learns Tumas Mace, Mapitz Mace from Mapitz Sheretz. He learns Mapitz Mace from Mapitz Sheretz through Gezer Shava. V'hachi kamar. Mapitz b'sheretz minayin. How do you know Mapitz b'sheretz is tamei that you can learn Mace from it? V'din he learns from Kal V'chomer. Uma pachim ketanen. Shetahorin b'zav. Tamein b'sheretz. Mapitz shetami b'zav. Ein adin shetami b'sheretz. And that guy's over here. There's no dayolova minalias kanidin. Why? Because they're both tamei to Erev. Okay, so therefore in other words, so we have no Tana where you don't slug with the Kal V'chomer that doesn't hold a dayah. We don't have such an animal. Okay, we just have to finish the now. What about, so where do we learn Mapitz Mace from? Let's finish it up. We learn now from Mapitz Sheretz through Gezer Shava. So says the Gemara, El Mapitz b'Mace Menayin. I know Mapitz b'Mace. Nema Beged v'Or b'Sheretz. It says Beged v'Or b'Sheretz. Nema Beged v'Or b'Mace. And it says by Tumas Mace by Midyon. It says Beged v'Or b'Mace. Ma Beged v'Or b'Sheretz. Ma Patami Bay, as we just learned that from a Kal V'chomer, from Pachak Katalim of Zav. Again, Ma Beged v'Or b'Sheretz. Ma Patami Bay, as we learned that from a Kal V'chomer from Zav. Af Beged v'Or ha'Omer b'Mace. Ma Patami Bay. That's the Gezer Shava. Okay, the Gemara just points out in Mufna. It must be that the words are extra. The Eloi Mufna, if they're not extra, you have a very good question. What's the question? You know why mapit sheretz is tamei? Because the tumah of a sheretz is the size of a lentil, tiny bit. So you have a kasha on the kalvachoymet. So a kasha on how could you learn that one from the other? It says it's true. Apnuye mufna. Both the beged or by sheretz is extra. Sheretz iskul the shich vazera. Sheretz is mukish the shich vazera. The chsiv ayisha shetetzim menu shich vazera. The samachle right next to it, it says ayisha sheyiga b'chol sheretz. So you see they're synonymous. Ukasiv baby shich vazera b'chol beged b'chol or asheyia olav shich vazera the kairis b'mayim v'tamei ad erev. So therefore, beged or the kasser rachmana b'sheretz lamali. If I have juxtaposed the sheretz, I have shich vazera. And no b'shich v'zera, it says a beged v'or. Why do I have to write beged v'or by sheretz? It must be to learn the gzeira shava to map its b'meis. Okay, shmami no lapnuye. It's extra. So now, when the people who learn out mufna mitzad echad, meaning even if it's on the gzeira shava, you have two players. Here we have mace and we have sheretz. So like the man Yoma says, only one has to be extra. You're good. Like the man Yoma, both have to be extra. So now we have to prove that beged v'or by mace is also extra. Says Gemara Vakati Mufna Mitzad Echad. Who it's only mufna from the side of sheretz. You go ahead and you learn and you don't ask any questions. Shapir, very good. Elmandi Omar that says mufna Mitzad Echad Lamidim. You learn it out. You got a good question. You know why sheretz is mochama? Because it's a tam b'chadacha. Why didn't you say by mace that's tam b'chazayis? Says Gemara the mace nami yafnei mufna. The mace also was extra. Michti mace ishkish l'shich v'zera dichsiv. Again, Avanageya b'chol tamei nefesh ayisha shetetzim menu shich v'zera. So we said the mace is chokish shich v'zera, and we've already established by shich v'zera ksibim shich v'zera b'chol beged b'chol ar sheyil of shich v'zera beged ar the kasach mana b'meis lamali l'shmami no lapnuye shmami no what lapnuye it's extra. Okay, now Hanich l'mandi Amar who says that you learn from gzeira shava doik mina, you learn out from it fugi basra and you establish it in its place. So in other words, guys, I'm learning out mace from sheretz. So doik mina, I learn out that just like sheretz, the mappa is tamei. So to by mace, the mappa is tamei. Fuki basra, now I'll keep it by mace, and it's tamei for 7 days. Good, tamei for 7 days. But like the man the amma uki doik mina umina, right? Says the Gemara, el man the amma doik mina umina, right? You learn from the thing. Doik mina, elamand ama doik mina umina, and you keep it on its place. Where do you know seven it from, guys? In other words, all I would know, fellas, if I learn mace from sheretz, there's two possibilities. I learn out that it's tamei, and then I just it's tamei, and I'll keep it in my uki basroi, and I'll keep it in my world, meaning the world of mace is tamei 7 days. But like the mama doik mina umina, meaning you learn out from it and it stays by it. So all I'm learning is tuma umina. And from it, I'm learning out again the extent of the tumah. Where do you know it's tamei for 7 days? Doik mina, I'm learning from sheretz umina, and it's only tamei for erev. So Michael and Neymar, Amarav Amakor, the pasuk says v'chibastem bigdechem b'yom hashvi'i v'tihartem v'achat toiv v'lamachne, and it says actually the word v'tihartem. Kol tamei shatem matam b'meis, any tamei meis la yipechusim shiva. Can't be less than 7 days. So even though doik mina mina, you'll continue to learn from it and extend sheretz to say it's only tamei tumas meis for 1 day to evening. We have a pasuk that says v'chibastem bigdechem b'yom hashvi'i. You should wash the clothing on what? Utehartem v'achatavo. Utehartem is an extra word, and that teaches me that what? That kol meis is for 7 days. All on